The only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Oh, we no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer! Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters, where we're going to bring you the news and reviews of some wonderful brews. My name is Dan Baker. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and of course, our entertainer,
Wayne Baker.
Now, today, we are on location
Somewhere awesome.
Somewhere awesome. I've been looking forward to coming here for, what's it been, about a year and a half is about, and I know you seem confused over those. So first I should tell people where we are. We're at Mad Chef, and the reason it's been so long is we've got two guys that are here at the table with us, one of whom I met at the Bacon and Brouhaha in 2014,
Yes,
that was like July-ish.
2 years ago.
Almost, yeah.
Yep.
So that voice that you hear is Mr.
Francisco Ramirez.
And we also have with us,
Greg Kendick.
gentlemen, thank you so much for inviting us out here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm very happy to be here.
We're very happy to have you guys in here.
Absolutely.
This is the one, and I'm always happy to go, wherever we are, because it's cool that we get invited into places, but this is one that's been on my radar since then, since July of 2014, so we are coming up on 2 years soon. And I met you there, Francisco, and you just had this glimmer in your eye that I could tell, like, this was going to be something huge.
Thank you.
And I'm glad it turned out to be such a beautiful place, a great environment, great food, great beer, and I can't wait to go through the list and just share the word about what's in front of us.
Thank you.
And what was cool for Wayne and I, the first time we met Francisco was at Homebrew Harvest
Yes. Right.
in 2014. And this year after Homebrew Harvest, this is where we came for the after party.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So it's neat. 1 year we're tasting and judging and his beers and celebrating his medal, and then we come to the actual establishment the next year.
Yeah.
See it all come to fruition.
Yeah. So it's finally happened. It's finally here. One thing I have to point out is this episode is brought to you by Audible. You can go to audibletrial.com/beerbusters. Let me say that again because I stumbled over my words. audibletrial.com/beerbusters. You can sign up for Trial. What?
Integral.
By the way, I ordered a glass of water the other day, and the woman thought I asked to make an order.
Oh,
I was like, I really do pronounce it like Wayne.
well,
water.
It happens.
But it's trial, Trial,
Yes.
not water.
audibletrial.com/beerbusters. Sign up for a free 30-day trial of Audible, and you get to download and keep a free audiobook. And when I found out, too, and I have to figure out the logistics of this, Audible has some sort of exchange program where if you don't like what you are reading, you can apparently exchange the book.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was also interesting. But go to audibletrial.com/beerbusters. Show your support for, of course, Beer Busters. Enjoy the book that you download. I want to know what you, I'd say, are reading but are listening to feels more appropriate, of course, besides Beer Busters. Now, I also have to mention that we have a sipping beer here.
Yay for sipping beers.
And I've been told this is the Johnny Doe.
It is.
All right, so what is the Johnny Doe?
Well, Johnny Doe is our American light lager. Clean, crisp, but yep, it's flavorful. 4.4 ABV and 9 IBUs, so super sessionable.
Ooh, yeah.
It's delicious, and it's awesome to see a craft brewery who's not afraid to make an American light lager, and it's great. It's really good.
It's so yummy.
We since we started, we wanted to make sure that we had something that was out there for anybody that walked in out of the streets, never knew anything about craft beers. We wanted to have something that was their gateway beer to the craft scene.
Yeah.
And what better than a American light lager?
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
And it's great, and it drinks. I mean, it's a little reminiscent of like your Yingling, which is a pretty decent lager, but it definitely has a more characterful grain malt component to it. It's really nice,
And it's so clean.
and it's really clean and crisp. And I believe Andrew Rothacker brought us this beer before you guys.
Was it this
or
one?
at least an iteration of this beer?
It was
So-
John Doe. It was the beer the lager that had no
John
name.
Doe.
The lager with
It
no
was.
name. That's right.
So
yeah.
it was
That's
John
right.
Doe that Stephanie, was the one that actually kind of
Inspired the name.
of it.
So my
I'm
wife
good
and
at
I,
inspiring.
we were sitting in the kitchen after listening to that, and my wife said, Well, now it has to be John Doe.
It just has to.
It's so perfect.
It works. It works very well. I like how crisp it is. I like how light it is then too. And I think it's normally I would equate a beer like this with like kind of like summer. You know, it's light, it's crisp, it's refreshing for the long hot day.
Yep.
But on a day that's starting to actually get chilly out, and be winter, I appreciate this beer.
It is. It's the perfect after a long shift. That is kind of perfect beer to end with. Very refreshing. Since we started brewing it here, this is a beer that I've brewed as a home brewer for now 8 years. And our biggest challenge was to get it to where we knew it was as a home brewer, with the new equipment and how to control temperatures. And I think this is our third batch, and I think we nailed it. We played with the fermentation enough that we know now that we started it very cold, and then just slowly ramp it over the first 3 days, and then just let it sit there, and then we finish it up to do it like diacetyl at 60, and then cold crush it, and I think it's just this is what we were looking for.
It's great.
The original intent was that Johnny Doe was going to be our light American lager that we opened up with, because we opened up in July, and then we would bring John Doe, Johnny's big brother, when fall and winter came. But it's Johnny. It's been such demand. Everybody wants Johnny Doe because it is that way to bring those guys in that aren't really craft beer guys.
Oh yeah.
And even those of us that have been obsessed with craft beer for quite some time, sometimes we just want a low alcohol, easy drinking yet complex beer, and this fills that void. So is the plan that this will be on year round?
Yep, this will be one of the beers that we'll always have on tap. It'll be Johnny Doe, some sort of a version of the Spot Hop Pale Ale, and the F18. And then, only 5 months in, so certainly people are still determining what they want to see constantly on the taps.
Yeah.
So, every time that we brew something that comes out and people are like, oh my God, we want that again, we're like, all right, we got to add that maybe to the list. All right. But certainly Johnny Doe will always be on tap.
Awesome.
Very cool. Well, it's a good way to start off the show. We've got a lot in front of us. Now I want to do this. So I've got 2 stories that I wanted to pass along. One of which is, at this point, it's sort of tradition that I have to report on this.
Wait, a list?
No. It's actually not a list.
I peeked at his notes.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not a list. It didn't come from a place that is necessarily thrilling with lists, but...
I see what you did there.
Yeah, do you? As seems to be the tradition to coincide with the season premiere of a certain wildly popular HBO series.
Yep.
7 Kingdoms Hoppy Wheat Ale is the newest beer in the Game of Thrones series from HBO Global Licensing and, of course, brewery Ommegang.
Oops, they did it again.
Yeah. They should have called it Jon Snow's Not Dead.
I feel like that's a little spoiler. Also, Steph.
A spoiler.
Brittany, bitch.
Oops, they did it again.
Yes, thank you.
So... it's slated to debut this spring, ahead of the premiere of Season 6 of HBO's, of course, critically acclaimed and Emmy award-winning show that I still have yet to watch and get yelled at by nerds from around the world.
It's at the point now where you're going to have to take like a week off and just watch it all.
Well, that might happen anyway.
You're so far behind.
I've watched 15 minutes of one episode. Does that count?
Were there boobs in that 15
yes.
minutes?
People died, there were boobs, and there were dragons.
Okay. Then you did indeed watch the show.
Yeah.
Then it is HBO.
Yes. So this will be available both on draft and in large format 750 milliliter bottles. 7 Kingdoms is a marriage of a traditional Belgian-style wheat and a hop-forward American pale, but unlike so many of the marriages on the show, the article points out, the resulting hoppy wheat is pleasant, playful, and inspired.
I thought you were going to say incestuous.
Okay. At 6.9% ABV, it possesses a nuanced complexity that pairs nicely with the hop-forward characteristics that make it surprisingly refreshing. Now, 7 Kingdoms pours a hazy pale yellow with a thick cap of pure white foam. The aroma is floral citrusy with a touch of passion fruit and a slightly herbal hop aroma, underpinned with yeast notes of banana, ripe fruit, and spicy phenols. The taste is a full round hop flavor with a tart orange and lemon with a substantial wheat maltiness, and the finish has a slight lingering hop note without being harshly bitter. And the mouthfeel is reportedly smooth and silken owing to the wheat and oats. Now, a good quote that I like for this one is from Ommegang. "We love bringing as much inspiration, thoughtfulness, and creativity to Game of Thrones beers as we can," said Mike McManus, who is the innovation manager at brewery Ommegang. This last season, the imaginativeness, is that a word?
Yes.
Imaginativeness of the show was pretty astounding, so we aimed for a beer that could hope to match that. A fusion of two wonderful styles was an idea that really excited our team. It's hopped with Bravo Centennial, Citra, Cascade, and Columbus, and it is brewed with Pilsner, white and red wheat oats, and a touch of sugar to lighten the body. This is the newest edition, of course, in a line of already popular and delicious beers, in my opinion.
Have we tried all of them on the show now?
Maybe not on the show,
On the
but I
show
think
now.
I've tried all of them
Okay.
in one way or another.
I know we've tried some of them on the show.
Can I just point out it smells amazing in here right now?
whatever.
trying to figure out what that
Something
was.
just came out that smells
There's
delicious.
just a huge whiff of just amazingness.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
garlic bread, or I don't know what it is, but it's good.
Yes.
Sorry, didn't mean to
No,
interrupt your
that's
story.
fine.
I got distracted from you.
So look for Seven Kingdoms to be available nationally in March of 2016 on draft and in 750 milliliter bottles for the suggested retail price of $9.99 per bottle, which, editorial note, that is not a bad price for what you're getting.
I was going to say that it's not about.
That's not bad at all, yeah.
So next up, a little bit of controversy, of course, coming out of the whole AB InBev world. There is a restaurant chain in Charlotte that is now saying that it will no longer sell beers associated with Anheuser-Busch InBev. The restaurant is called Queen City Q. It is a Southern barbecue restaurant in Charlotte. That means no more Goose Island, no more Budweiser, no more Shock Top, or many of their other beers to wash down, of course, their famous Southern-style barbecue at the Charlotte locations. Now, Queen City cited a Wall Street Journal story from earlier that suggested that AB InBev is rewarding distributors who focus on its beers while limiting supply from craft brewers. AB InBev estimates that the participating distributors would receive an average annual benefit of $200,000 $200,000 each to focus on AB InBev and have most of their stuff at the forefront of your store.
Which is pretty crappy.
Yes, it is. The restaurant's managing partner, Brian Meredith, said AB InBev is intentionally and willfully harming the craft beer industry, which Queen City Q has long supported, and his restaurants won't do business with companies who act, quote, like bullies. In the grand scheme of things, I'm sure Anheuser-Busch could care less about me. I don't sell enough to even be a blip on their radar, said Meredith. The message I hope they get is if 100 other people like me do this, they're going to notice it at some point.
They're going to ruffle a lot of feathers.
I don't think they're the only restaurant chain doing that.
Probably
I heard
not.
rumors about a pretty big California restaurant chain that was doing the same thing.
I applaud them. I stand up and applaud them, and I give them a standing ovation.
It's a monopoly.
It is.
should be
That's
illegal.
exactly what it's going to be. You're giving AB InBev control over, what was it, like 70% of global beer distribution at this point? And
One
now-
in 3 beers in the world.
Yeah, and now they are giving distributors who have their beer at the forefront an extra $200,000. And, I mean, I don't know what it costs to run a distributor, but I'm assuming that's a gigantic amount of money.
Well, it's a flagrant violation of fair capitalist competition. I mean,
I recently just read that article, and what caught me out of it was the fact that in order for you to get that, incentive, they're telling the distributor that they have to sell at least 95% of the sales of their year has to be in InBev.
Yes.
wow.
Yep.
So
that
that's
means
crazy.
They're gonna display more InBev stuff, and they're probably gonna lower the in-store price of it to then be that much more popular.
push out craft beer.
You'll get the people like us that would go in and choose the craft beers, but I mean, if you're in the right area, the right part of town, you've got a college next door. Kids are coming in. They're going to buy your cheapest
whatever
case
you
of
have.
Bud Light
Yeah,
because it's $15 for a 24 pack at that point.
So part of me says, let them buy that crap. Go support your local brewery.
Yeah.
The downside is your local breweries can't distribute as much and can't
Right,
reach
right.
as big of a
Right.
footprint. But now more than ever, it's important to, and you know me, I do not believe in drink local. I believe in drink local if it's good.
Yeah.
Right.
Just because it's in your neighborhood doesn't mean they make good beer.
So
Yeah.
there's a quote in here that really kind of pissed me off when I read it.
Ooh,
From-
Dan's getting fiery.
Oh,
Well, it's in a-
stand back, people.
As the article reads, in a statement, Anheuser-Busch said the incentive program is voluntary and doesn't discourage the sale of competing beers.
Really?
Of course, it's voluntary.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Really?
Nothing in the program prevents distribution of other brands, said Bob Tallett, the brewer's vice president
they
for
won't
business.
give you money.
Right. The program simply incentivizes our distributors for focus and performance in today's already highly competitive market. Shut the fuck up.
Wow. Boom.
It's just like the cool girl, the Mean Girls table in high school.
Yep.
It's just what it is.
I find it
girls table, but
hard to accept that it's even legal.
No, that's what it. Yeah.
It's like bribery. I mean, you can't, like, if any other product or industry.
I thought it was illegal.
Yeah.
Isn't it that to bribe or to give free things for tap spaces? Like, if you put my beers on tap, I will give you this. I thought that was illegal. Isn't this sort of the same thing?
It might be. I'm not sure how distribution,
Yeah.
how they control that part, but
Right.
I think that you're not giving a fair chance to everybody else that's out there that's trying to,
Right. And if it's not illegal, it's one of the things that sounds like it obviously should be.
I know. I think Coke and Pepsi used to do that in the wars back in the when they were battling. They used to do that. It's if you don't carry all of our stuff, you can't carry any of it.
Right.
Kind of thing. So
it just seems like a shitty.
Well, it is
business
still
practice.
kind of like that if you think about it.
That's true. Yeah.
For
Except
soda.
But if you notice, Dr. Pepper is like the one that just kind of blends it. Dr. Pepper isn't owned by Coke or Pepsi. It's owned by Cadbury. But
I
you'll
didn't
see
know
it-
that.
You'll see it on a fountain with Coke or with Pepsi.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you won't obviously convenience stores you can buy whatever soda you
Of
want.
course,
But in
they've got
restaurants,
everything.
it's generally
one
Coke.
or the other. It's Coke or Pepsi.
But it's
which
not
I
gonna be
noticed.
both.
Mad Chef has Coke products.
Yes, we do.
I appreciate that. I'm a Coke fan of a Pepsi.
Well, I mean, honestly, if you want to run a restaurant, you pretty much have to. Like, it's kind of, you don't have a choice.
yeah, it's more so what I've noticed is actual restaurants will have Coke, but fast food will have Pepsi. Is what I've seen.
Yeah. This isn't
more
soda
or less.
busters.
I know.
But they have iced tea here, so that's the most important.
And
thing.
that makes our DD happy.
makes Rich happy.
Now, there is one other note I wanted to point out about this article. It's not in the article, but what you were saying about it being illegal. The fancy piece of paper I have mounted on my wall that says I can work in radio. One of the things they teach us about is something called plugola and something called payola. And it was a practice in radio and the recording industry where plugola would be endorsing a product or service on radio for personal gain, and payola would be accepting payment in return for airplay. So if I were a music director or a program director for a station and you worked for Capitol Records and you come in and you say, you're going to play this band, here's $1 million, have fun. That's illegal. I'd get arrested. But apparently in the beer world, you're allowed to say, here's $200,000 for focusing on my product.
And I think there's obviously a lot of reaction and a lot of unhappy people about this, and I think it will turn into a legal issue.
It has to.
It makes me want to research beer law.
Yeah. It's probably one of those things that's not technically illegal at the moment.
That's
but
what I'm
this may
thinking.
be the impetus
It must be
to-
worded in a certain way that
Yeah.
makes it legal.
Well, if there are any lawyers that are listening, or
We
you
need a
happen
beer
to know
lawyer
about the beer
that gives
laws,
free advice.
just shoot us an email for anything we may have gotten wrong or anything you think is related to that story that we
And
should
if you
know.
happen to also be a certified public accountant, we could use one of those too.
Oh, I got that taken care of.
Info at beerbusterspodcast.com for any of those tasty little tidbits. So sorry to have such a heated article there. It's an interesting time to be a beer fan overall.
news, yeah.
And that's just kind of shitty that they're doing that.
Yeah.
But on a much happier note, we're at Mad Chef.
There you go.
And I am super, super happy to be here. Like I said earlier, I've been looking forward to this for a very long time. Now, you guys, you said you've been open about 5 months now.
Yep.
So how much planning had to go into this? I would imagine like night and day losing sleep kind.
I mean, well, he knows more than anything else. I mean, he was the driving force into the planning of building, I don't know, even to have to start to explain permits, construction, architects, this and that. I'm like,
I'm just going to make beer. You handle that.
All I had to worry was like, he's literally like on top of me. Where's the menu? I'm like, the menu's going to come up very soon. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
It'll be there.
Don't worry about it. I got it covered.
Greg was the driving force through all that. He can tell you it was countless, endless, sleepless nights. Trying to do 2 jobs at the same time.
Yep.
Sometimes 3 and 4.
Still. Yep.
And you were in the beverage industry, though not beer.
Right. Yep. I was in bottled water for about almost 13 years. Yeah. So
Has that experience has that been beneficial in any way with?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So water treatment, when we knew we wanted to have some, for instance, the Johnny Doe that we sampled earlier. East Petersburg Boroughs, Lancaster City Municipal Water Supply is very hard water. Because that light American lager, there's not much to it. We wanted to make sure that the grains that we put in shine through. So we knew we wanted to do something special with the water. So we knew we wanted to do RO treatment. We wanted to strip the water out. So when it came to setting up all of the water treatment that we wanted to put in, the chlorine removal. So we've got carbon beds back there for that. We knew we wanted to do softened water for the rest of the house, so that we save all of our dishwashers and all of the things that were critical for hard water. But yeah, so that water treatment, cleaning and sanitizing, very, very dialed into.
Wow, you
all that
bring
stuff.
a huge amount of background to the brewery. Things that the brewer inside of me is like, I need to worry about the water. I don't really want to have to worry. So it's like,
You've got to.
Francisco probably looks at you and he's like, oh yeah, you can worry about that.
Believe me, I was like, these guys are asking about this. I'm like, no, Greg, you take that.
I gotta say, I would think, and no offense, but I think worrying about the water is probably the least exciting thing about brewing.
But
It's one of the most important.
It's one of the most important, but it's just not as cool as the grain bill and the hops.
Right.
And the,
I don't know. My mouth is like, my jaw's dropping, and I'm very interested in, that's the beer nerds in us. That's what we get excited about.
And the cool thing about it is that he managed to. So we have the RO system that strips everything out, and then we have the the other carbon filters and the softeners, but he made sure that none of the softener went into the when we're brewing, and so we still keep some of those minerals, so that hard water actually has worked out in our advantage, because it makes some really kick-ass IPAs.
Nice.
So.
Yeah,
nice.
for sure.
Yeah, very important. That obviously you don't want to send softened water. You don't want to brew with softened water. Salt content too high. But yeah, we had to think through the plumbing design as we went through that to make sure that we had dechlorinated water but unsoftened water to be able to supply the brewery with that, and from the background standpoint, just cleaning and sanitizing. I've been in every one of these tanks.
Nice.
Literally inside every
yeah.
one of the tanks.
And I think water is something you normally just take for granted too. I mean, the brewers would know you need the water, but I mean, I've never brewed outside when we were at Boobies, and I just kind of, as far as I know, you turn on a faucet and there's water. I would never know there's that much that goes.
I
into
avoid it because people always make fun of the way I say it. Water.
Well, and it's not just you adjust the water to brew. I mean, every style of beer, there's an ideal water chemistry that goes with that style.
Yep. And for me, I would just basically think, turn on the faucet, there's some water, it doesn't taste good, put a Brita filter on it, and you're done.
Oh, you don't want to brew beer with water that doesn't taste good.
Well, right. I mean, I know that now, but before knowing about beer, you would never think that goes into it. So, like, that attention to detail, I mean, that alone is going to set you off on the right foot.
That's why their lager's so good.
It was a Bohemian Pilsner that you had at the Brouhaha.
Oh, wow.
And that was RO water. It was so clean.
All right.
It starts with the right water. Yeah. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Well, you think about it. I mean, when you start brewing, you mash in. What do you have? You have grains and water.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
it all
where
starts
it all
with that.
starts.
Yeah. You just never. I would never have thought that level of, I guess, detail would have to go into the water.
And with a light American lager, or like Pilsner, something that doesn't have a huge grain bill. It's only
Nothing
a couple
to
hundred
hide
pounds of
behind.
grain. There's not. You don't want the mineral content of the water to overshadow the flavor you're expecting to get from the grains, and that's why we felt like that was important for Johnny Doe and the light lagers that we do, is to use as clean, if you will, water as a base, so we knew where we were starting.
And Francisco, you have a very different background from Greg. You are the chef in Mad Chef,
I am
or
the
the
chef.
Mad Chef, as it were.
Are you
the
mad?
chef.
I say, call me the Mad Chef.
How do you say Mad Chef in Spanish?
El Chef Loco.
I guess that makes sense.
All right.
Not very exciting.
I
on
feel
that
like
one.
you knew that.
If I had thought about it, I would have figured it out.
So are we taking it as like mad is crazy then? Because I would have thought like mad is angry. I guess
No.
like mad scientist would be also like you're crazy. So
Or
okay.
creative.
Creative.
It's more on the fact that I am
Our tagline.
very very particular how I like things, and I'm very specific on how I like things to look and how things should taste and how things to actually mingle with each other. And it's just that kind of drive that sometimes drive half of the people that are around me mad.
Well, you gotta you have to. And I gotta say, we were hanging out in the brewing space earlier to do some pictures, and you had to jump in the kitchen for a little bit to help out because you guys were a little busy, which is a great problem to have.
It is always a great problem.
And I was watching you through the fermenters in the kitchen running around, and it was wonderful to watch you running around directing and just sort of orchestrating the kitchen. I just find that fascinating.
You were a man in his element.
It's like
you.
romantic chaos almost.
It is, yeah.
Seriously, it is.
That is the best description of what it is. That is exactly what it is. It's the craziness of the kitchen. And in that slight craziness of it, I almost feel at peace, at ease. And it's very easy for me to kind of just let all the rest of the crew there, and which is our family members, just kind of how to move around. And it gets busy here. You've seen it. It's all of a sudden, no table service. So people kind of just walked in, and orders just start,
boom, boom,
ordering in. And, when it's an open kitchen like we have here, you really can't hide much from things.
Right.
People are sitting there and they're like,
watching you.
All right, so we ordered a French fries and a sandwich. How long is that gonna take, dude? So we need to make sure that everything it comes out at an appropriate time.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, talk about your previous culinary jobs. You have some interesting experience.
I have. Been 20 years almost in this business. I started in Puerto Rico, just helping friends here and there, in and out of a kitchen somehow, some way. Always found a passion for it, and never did anything, more than just kind of helping out. And then, maybe 12 years ago, I decided that if I was going to do one thing in life, I wanted to do something that was my true passion. It was always cooking, and so I went to the Culinary Institute of America up in Hyde Park, New York. Did the 2-year program, worked New York, worked in Saugerties, which is like 5 minutes away from Woodstock. Cool place to hang out and just work. Worked in Arizona, came back to Philadelphia, worked in Paoli, kind of catering, and then for the last 8 years I was in a retirement community, really high-end retirement community down in Gladwin. And that actually, believe it or not, and people are like, retirement community. How does that happen? Exactly what I felt when I applied for the job. But it was completely different. It's like a country club. These people love food. They, had wealth all their life, so they travel and they expect really good things. And, having almost an unlimited budget kind of helps out a lot.
A friend of mine was a chef at a retirement community also, and he said the same thing. I figured it was like you watch The Simpsons, and they have their steak puree. It's like, no, that's not the case at all.
No, it's, I thought, I'm like, all right, meatloaf and mashed potatoes.
Bland and flavorless food.
Oh, Lord. But no, it wasn't that. 8 years of having to cook whatever we wanted to, and they kept up pushing the envelope on how good the food was and how bringing more than what you expect there, and it was great. And so that kind of almost 8 years kind of was our mad chef kitchen of things that we have now here. I had 8 years of perfecting all these things that you see here and things that you're going to see in the future. So, it was amazing.
So when did the chef start brewing? How did that happen?
The chef started brewing 8 years ago. Greg Kendig was actually brewing at that time with his next-door neighbor, right?
Yep.
3-tier system. And so he called me one day. He's like, hey, man, you want to brew? I'm like, you want to brew? What, coffee? It's like, no, beer. Really? You brew beer? That's awesome. So I went over, and it was just one of those things where that you're like it's like, oh my God, how did I not know this happened? You know, it's like, all right, cooking, I should have gone brewing. You know?
Yeah. So did your cooking background really provide a lot for you to work with when you got into brewing?
It has. It has. That is part of the beauty of what we've able to accomplish so far. It's the fact that I have no brewing, school.
Right. Yeah.
So I was self-taught, videos and books and everything. And so how I approach a recipe is the same thing I approach a soup or a stew. You come up with whatever it is in your brain. Let's say, we had that farmhouse Saison a while ago. And my culinary thing was lemon pepper.
Right, yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I want lemon pepper. So how do you get it? So, you put a little bit of rye that gives you the pepper. You use a Belgian Saison that brings some of those esters out. And then, Sriracha brings a little bit of lemon in it. And that's pretty much as we've come up with some of the recipes that we do here. I mean, a lot of them are true to the style, and a lot of them has a little bit of the mad chef in them, So.
That's what we were talking about earlier is, we give you the true to style and then a little bit of the chef's fun.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I appreciate that. I always tell people when you get into brewing, learn how to do the basic styles first. Perfect the basics and then play with it. And that's exactly what you guys do here. And I love that even sometimes you can have the two side by side. This is the base beer, and then here it is with all this crazy stuff in it. And I think it makes you appreciate the thought behind the recipe and the flavor combinations even more when you can enjoy that.
I agree. Most other people, like you put a bunch of stuff in a beer and they're like, they're probably hiding something in there. It's like something came up wrong.
Something went wrong and they still want to sell it. So.
Exactly. And here, what you said, we will always give you the base beer, and then we'll give you a spin-off of that base beer.
There's no hiding.
In that regard, do you plan on doing like any bottle releases to show like, you can have, here's an IPA that we have on tap here at the restaurant, but here's a bottle of it that has, X, Y, and Z thrown in there too, that's aged for, X amount of days, months, years, insert time period. But do you plan on doing anything like that?
Insert more fermenters.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I guess, with the space you have, that might be a little difficult.
We have room for 3 more fermenters back there, but honestly...
Which I don't believe for 1 second.
I don't see it, but I
believe you. Told me that the first time I was here. I was like, where?
I believe you.
We have to move some things a little bit.
I'm sure you've thought about it a lot.
Yes, we have. In the grand plan, as we laid everything out, that was there's space for them.
Unless the wall back there, the brick wall is like you remember the movie Labyrinth when she's just going straight down the corridor and she doesn't see any of the turns until the worms, like there's a turn right here and then she walks. Never mind. You can put fermenters.
I do remember that movie.
We have gotten very creative on using our space here.
Yeah.
We thought that we had more than what we needed, and very, very shortly into the whole thing, we're like, I think we are running out of space here.
Yeah.
So
we're 5 months in.
Yeah.
So we've talked about a lot of stuff. We've talked about, we know guys are doing crowlers. We know that guys are doing some bottle releases. We know that there's mobile bottling equipment, canning equipment that you can back up to your door and can and bottle. We're just we're still figuring stuff out. We're figuring out how to be efficient in the brewery and keeping up with demand here in house. So yeah, I would say anything and everything is possible in the future as we get better at what we do.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think it's really cool that you have both sides of the coin down here. You've got the brewing and you've got the excellent food, and you've got the background for both, and you guys both, bring something to the table that complements each side of that. And it's just really awesome to see because, you could go into brew pubs where, you have an excellent brewer that opens a brewery, and a lot of them hire really great chefs. But to have somebody with your culinary experience from the ground floor as part of the founding process, I think brings an extra element to it where it's something special.
The
something
food is
different.
not a second thought.
Exactly.
You come here
part of the
hungry
DNA.
and you're going to drink and you're going to eat.
Yeah.
Because if you're sitting here and you're smelling that, you're going to get hungry.
Of course.
It's delicious.
Like that garlic bread or whatever that
amazing smell that came out
whatever
earlier.
that smell was at the beginning of the
It's
show.
gone now. I think somebody ate it, whatever it was.
Well, lucky them.
I did see some ice cream come out, though, to our
the desserts.
our groupie table
Oh,
over
yes.
Wait, what?
Save them. The desserts are so good.
there's dessert.
And they are the perfect
Well then.
size
Yep.
that you can't say,
Well,
I'm
not
full.
for Dan.
Well,
They're probably.
Hey, hey, hey.
no, it's just an.
Kidding.
I don't eat as much as I used to.
Aw.
I still do.
That's true. You do. But so you have, you know, these thoughts that are there. You have somehow room for 3 more fermenters, and you're 5 months in, and you already have. I mean, just even on a Friday night, you have this sort of reception here. I mean, has it been this kind of reception from the beginning?
You know, when we started, obviously, it's that, you know, newlyweds kind of thing where everybody's like, yes,
Yeah.
we want to go see what's going on. And then, you know, it obviously slowed down. We were lucky enough to open when it was the slowest of the season, July, running into August and September, which is our year, you know, notorious year slow month on the, you know, restaurant business. So we were able to open, and it was real busy for like the first month. And then it kind of tapered off, and then we've realized now that we have certain days that are like, you know, they're booming. So Fridays, for example, it's a busy night here. I think it helped out a lot the fact that we have a live music program. So every Friday we have a new band comes in 6 to 9. We like to promote as much as the local artists out there. So any local artist that wants to play the Mad Chef, just go give us a call. All right.
So where do you have them play?
Right behind you. Right in the corner.
Okay.
Right over there.
All right. Underneath the giant TV that
TV kind of set up where you're
It's easier to see the room where the band goes than it is where the room where these extra fermenters are going to go.
So you have live entertainment. Any possible beer dinners in the future?
Ooh, I think we have talked about something like that, ain't it? We might be
Maybe a certain vegetarian beer
vegetarian
dinner? Inspired by a certain beer buster?
Yep.
It was you, right, Wayne? It was you.
It was Wayne.
Oh, because I'm such a devout vegetarian.
Of course.
I mean, how can you not?
I agree with you. Believe me.
It's in your blood. Beer dinners are. I mean, you say Francisco. I mean, people are going to think beer dinner. Come on.
Well, it is that makes perfect sense.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And part of when we started, we wanted to do run at least one night to do like beer and food
and beer
pairings.
pairing night. Yeah.
You know, kind of separate like a 12 top. People come in, and then it will be like a 6 top with different things. And I think the last time you were here, we were kind of shooting back and forth some ideas, and I think it's the perfect thing. I mean, right now we have so many people that come in here that either vegan, vegetarian, you know, or just want the healthier side of things. And then you can make really good food that there's no meat in it and very flavorful with just, you know.
You may not believe that, ladies and gentlemen, but it's true.
It is true.
As the lover of meat and protein that I am, I have to say this. Steph at one point had me try. There's 2 things that stick out in my mind. There was a seitan cheesesteak from Blackbird, I think
Blackbird
it was.
Pizzeria.
Yep, in Philly.
Philly.
Yeah.
And you had vegan meatballs at one of your parties, and I really, really enjoyed both of those.
It's all about the flavors.
Yeah.
It's just all about the flavors. Satan's the perfect one. Looks like steak. You can grill it. You can saute it. You can put blue cornmeal on it, saute it, and it looks amazing. So I mean, you can do a lot of things.
When
with
he
it.
talks about food, I can't not smile.
I know, it's so awesome. You just feel the passion.
Were you a voiceover or do like cartoon voices in a past life?
No, people had.
I feel like there was another calling in your life too. I love it though. You're so animated and can change your voice so much.
Like one of the chefs on Ratatouille. I could see you filling one of those roles.
Oh man! But speaking of food and beer pairing, so you don't have official like food and beer dinners yet.
Coming soon.
When you built the menu and when you brew beers, do you think about what might complement what? Or does that kind of come after there are already ideas there?
The moment that we, so the menu was designed to actually be able to work with any of the beers that we had, you know. So certainly there's certain items that will work better with others, you know. We changed some of our, so the charcuterie board, we changed some of our cheeses. Right now we brought on purpose this Bellavitano espresso cheese that has an espresso cover on the outside that works amazing with the oatmeal stout.
That sounds really
Wow. Wow.
What? Espresso cheese?
Espresso cheese, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
that sounds
the bologna sandwich that I had, what should I have had to drink with that?
With the bologna, that is the smokiness and the sweetness of that beer works perfectly with an IPA.
All right.
You know, so you bring some of that almost kind of like smoky barbecue kind of items, and then there's a sweetness that kind of helps out, kind of balance or even out with the maltiness of the IPA, and then what you get is just kind of that pure bitterness of it. You know, so it's nice. There's a lot of items on the menu, like so there's a vegetarian appetizer. So it's the olives, grilled olives, the Mediterranean olives, and then there's the pickled carrots and all that stuff. So it's a fun way of, there's a vegetarian option. All right? But at the same time, it's how fun those things work with the same beer. So you can take a, perfect example, an IPA. And you take the IPA and you take the grilled olives. So they're very rich and buttery. That evens out your maltiness, and all you see is what then? All of a sudden it's the hoppy part of, or the bitter part of the beer that hits.
Right.
You have that same one with something that is very vinegary, so like the chipotle carrots. So the acidity kind of evens out with the bitterness, and then all you get is that nice maltiness out of the beer. So it's food.
I think you just got your first course pairing there.
Food changes everything.
And interesting how the beer and the food changes in your perception when you put them together and what you pair them with. And it's a good thing we ate before we started recording, or he would be making me very, very hungry.
I hate olives, and you just made me want olives.
I love olives.
There you go.
Olives
So,
are good.
Greg, what's your favorite thing to eat when you come in?
Oh boy, my favorite has just changed recently. I mean, I love the Cuban from day one.
All right.
But I tell you that the Longenecker is really good.
Yes.
Oh, that's what
That's
you
a
had.
bologna
That's
sandwich.
what you had,
That's the bologna sandwich.
yeah.
Yeah, that has very quickly risen to the top of my list.
Should we ask Francisco? Is that not fair? Is that like asking you to choose a favorite child?
That's the Sophie's choice. It's the quintessential Sophie's choice.
That's exactly that.
It's okay.
Like, people be like, "What's your favorite?" I'm like, "It's all my babies." It's like I don't know which
the one
but
I'm eating right now.
exactly. It all depends on what you feel like that day. It's it's the same
I
thing
know
with
what
beer.
he typically asks them to make for him, though.
Oh yeah, what?
Oh, what's that?
Don't say peanut butter and jelly.
Do tell. Peanut butter and jelly.
The Cuban is right at the
It's a
top.
Cuban.
Of
Cuban.
his
Oh,
list.
you can't go wrong with a Cuban.
Growing
absolutely.
in Puerto Rico, it's very dear to me, the fact that I was taught how to make it by authentic Cubans. I grew up next to a Cuban cafeteria, so kind of knew how to. They taught me how to make it, and it's just something that I take very dear to heart. So yeah, a Cuban is always mine, except I don't like mustard. So
That's interesting.
the chef.
He also doesn't like mayonnaise.
Doesn't like how do you not like
No, there's a lot of
mayonnaise?
people that
It's-
don't like mayonnaise.
I don't know. It's
But
a weird
mustard?
thing. Yes,
Yeah.
it's mustard and mayonnaise and vinaigrettes. I gotta make them in order for me to try them. The same thing with mayonnaise and stuff like that. I have to make it, and then I'll be like, I know how much is there. All right, I'll go for it.
So funny, right after we first opened, one of the first couple of days, I was talking to one of our customers, and she was like, "These dips are so great. This smoky mayo. I don't taste any mayonnaise." And I said, "And you know why that is? Because the chef hates mayonnaise. So none of these dipping sauces will taste like mayonnaise."
That is true.
That smoky mayo was really, really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, and you always say brew what you want to drink. I mean, nothing wrong with cooking what you want to
No.
eat too. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
I thought you were going to say brew what you want to eat.
Or brew what you want to eat.
eat.
Cook what you want to drink. I mean,
Cook what you
go
wanna
crazy. It's all about innovation.
Well, he is a mad chef.
He is a
Yeah.
mad
So,
chef.
yeah.
Can we?
I was going to say, now that
Drink.
we're a little more familiar with
We should
Mad
beer.
Chef, we should
We should
absolutely beer. Okay, so we started off with Johnny Doe, which was a fantastic start to the night. But now we have, if I'm seeing this right, we have the Lumiere next.
Yes, we do the
All right.
Lumiere.
So this is the Saison you were talking about earlier, right?
No, this is the original was the farmhouse Saison, which is a Belgian Saison. This one is a French Saison. This was
one-
actually an inspiration by our assistant brewer Jeremy Bars.
This one is sublime.
It is.
I
a
really
Oh.
like this. Yeah.
solid
Wow.
beer. It is.
Wow.
Ooh.
Oh, It just hits all the right notes for a great Saison.
It does.
Nothing
It does.
crazy
It's
out
almost-
there. It's just what you want and exactly.
It's very much on like the beer de garde side of Saisons. Like it's so clean and dry, and the pepperiness comes out, and
but not funky.
yeah, no,
Right.
No.
Yeah, which is important for this one.
I'm getting a
It-
really
it's-
subtle sweetness out of it then,
yeah,
too.
but then it's
But it's
dry, done.
Yeah, it's
Just
like
clean.
it's there and
Yeah.
then it's not,
Yeah,
and then
it's
it's
that.
there and then it's not.
Exactly.
touch of it, yeah.
I think he did an amazing job on this beer. He pitched it to us. He came over and he's very enthusiastic about what he does. And he loves brewing and beers. And so he pitched this beer to us. And I say, hey, man, let's go for it. So it's the base of it's just Pilsner, Belgian Pilsner, spelt and rye. And then it's...
Which is that probably that kick of a little bit of pepperiness.
Yep.
Pepperness, pepperiness, pepper.
It works.
Words,
Pepperosity.
words.
Pepperiness.
And then it's just sauce and a little bit of Amarillo at the end. And the Amarillo, I think it's just... You wouldn't expect that on a French Saison, but it just works
It does.
amazingly.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is. It's a nice, crisp spice character.
Yep.
That's just it's crisp and it's got the spice character, but it's also very refreshing at the same time. This is I really
And you
it's
get
really
the
good.
little kick
Yeah.
of bitterness in the back.
In the end, yeah,
In the
yeah.
finish.
Mhm,
But then
You're like, oh, there's
cleans
the
up
hops.
after itself.
There's some hops. Yeah,
Yep.
But it's
I already finished mine.
this is like the kind of beer I want to have when it's like a big fancy dinner, like Thanksgiving, or
Yeah.
you go out for like,
or like a veggie dinner.
yeah.
There you go.
Some tofurkey. I feel like it would pair with like big holiday meal kind of flavors. Those like
Yeah.
those herbs and spices.
Yeah, I
and
can see it. I can absolutely see it.
I'm kind of craving green bean casserole right now.
Oh, there you go.
You know what? I used to hate green beans, but I love green bean casserole. I think it's
And
the onion stuff on
I
top.
make an amazing veganized green bean casserole using like all fresh green beans, all fresh mushrooms, like real herbs. Like it's not like the cream of
No.
mushroom stuff. I mean,
No.
I don't know if you've ever had mine.
I don't think I have.
It is my favorite thing about Thanksgiving.
I would
is
be
when I make
open to
that.
trying that,
It's
but,
so good.
Thanksgiving is
Shallots,
best.
none of that onions already that come in. It's amazing. Yeah, I know.
I can only
This
imagine.
is so good.
So now we have another beer that has already been passed around.
This,
I mean, you guys
Very
are
efficient
quick on
today.
the you're quick on the draw here. Is this? I'm not even gonna try it. What is this? I can't.
This
say
is
it.
what we talked about earlier in the brewery. So, again, we talked about we like you to have the base beer so you know that here's the style, and then this is the Framboolution. So I'll let Francisco
say it again. Say it
explain
again.
this. Framboolution.
Ramvolution.
would have been close.
from
It's such a pretty name.
It is. And again, Jeremy Barnes, this is all his. So it's the same Lumiere, same
I haven't even
base
sipped
beer.
it yet, but the aroma is amazing.
Wow.
Ooh.
And so we use white oak chips that were soaked in Walt's Old Line Chardonnay that we actually went over, and they were kind enough to give us enough so that we can soak the oaks in it. And then we finish it up with raspberry puree.
Ooh.
Tom
And
is
you get-
looking at me, and I'm just mouthing. Oh my God, this is so good.
It is great.
This is delicious, and you get the raspberries kind of in the middle towards the end.
Yep.
And it's subtle, but it's definitely there, and it's a nice,
Yeah.
tart, clean, fresh raspberry
Just
character.
a kiss.
Just
So
a
that's-
kiss of raspberry.
We talk about Mad Chef, right? So it's insanely combining the culinary arts and craft brewing, and that's one of the things that Francisco has such a gift for, is that everything is in balance.
Yes.
Yeah.
So while and some people get afraid of that when you tell them it's got the red raspberry puree, and they're thinking they're just going to get hit in the
Yeah,
face
they're
with the
expecting
fruit.
it to be bright purple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not. It's just it's there. And I also describe this to folks is kind of the closest thing if you like a framboise.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a lambic, like
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
framboise. Yeah.
It's
So
so
the
good.
little secret to this one, and John Furman, he's behind the bar back there. The night that this Framboolution went on, he asked. So at the end of the night, after we're all cleaned up, the staff comes out and sit down at the bar and have a shift beer. So John says, "Hey, give me half Framboolution and half of the oats." So if you like chocolate covered raspberries,
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
In fact,
We need to try that for the night's over.
Yes.
I think we should do that. We should do that on the
That
show.
sounds really good.
That sounds amazing.
This is so good, and I love the progression from the base, which we just had, which was fantastic, and then this, like the little twist, and it's not. I mean, when you look at the Chardonnay oak chips and raspberries, like you said, you could see that becoming a bit too much, but in this, it's just the right amount. It's very well balanced, and it's just right up my alley when it comes to beer. This is really good.
It gives it like this almost has a creaminess to it, like a touch of vanilla, which is probably from the oak.
Yeah.
And it almost tastes like there's just one fresh red raspberry in your glass, and it just like it's so delicate, but it's there, and
It is.
It reminds me of like those really nice light desserts you always see that I never order because I always want the big chocolate brownie with the syrup and the caramel. But I know I should try them once in a while. When you do, they're refreshing but nice and sort of sweet.
And you're like, why have I been
sweet.
eating that dense chocolate cake my whole life?
It's really good.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I don't really know how to describe it other than everything that's already been said. And I don't want to sound like that's a cop-out, but I mean, you guys described it perfectly, and that it's so delicious.
That's what's so fun about coming here is you're always going to get something new and exciting. Like, have you ever had a beer like that before? I mean, yes, we've had Saisons. Yes, we've had beers with oak chips. Yes, we've had raspberry beers. But, like, it's just like...
It's very unique without doing anything super crazy.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep, we won't throw the kitchen sink in it, but we'll make sure that what's in there actually complements what the beer is.
Well, that's what the infuser's for, right?
That's
for when you're like,
around with,
here it
yeah.
is.
It's like, all right, you thought that we
Well,
couldn't make
I'm
it.
not sure
Here
what you're
you
talking
go.
about.
You asked for it.
Nice.
How did you find out about that?
I don't know what you're talking about. Never mind.
Uh-oh.
What? What the what?
What the what?
What the what?
So I see we've got...
Is there one more?
There's
There
one
is
more.
another
There's
one
one more on the table
for this round.
It looks nice and dark and fun, and I want to get a smell of this one. This is the Honey Nut Brown Ale.
Yep, that was actually we just kicked that one today. So
Ooh,
yep,
ooh! I love the smell of it. Like I'm almost getting like some sort of chocolate in the aroma.
chocolate
Yeah.
and
Chocolate
like
and
graham crackers.
I'm actually getting like pecan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the nuttiness.
Yep.
Yep. So there is some roasted malt in it. There's some Wireman's Special W, which gives you that almost that nuttiness to it. But then we added a little bit of honey malt, and if you are familiar with honey malt, it is extremely sweet. So it's that balancing how much you put in it that it doesn't become this like super sweet beer, and then. So a typical nut brown ale, it's 4.5 to 5%. We wanted to bring something that was, kind of warm you up a little bit more for the holidays, right? And that actually is the base of that. It's gonna come out on the 23rd, which is a winter warmer. So we wanted to make a nut brown ale that was a little bit more ABV to it, and so how we brought it up there was the honey.
Right.
So we added 22 pounds of honey to the beer.
Wow.
So it's a 6% honey nut brown ale.
Nice. It's really good.
And we may have enjoyed a little sip of
the winter
the
warmer.
yet to be named
Yeah.
winter warmer, and it was so good.
Yeah, it was
And I
really
said
good.
when we were back in the brewery, I love that it's a nut brown with all the wintry spice goodness in it. And they're delicious. Winter warmers are great, but they're always so high in alcohol and sometimes a lot of times very sweet and syrupy. And I love that your winter ale still has that nutty, dry beer behind it. And then you get the marriage of the nutmeg and the clove and whatever else, the wonderful things that you put in it. So I'm excited to have the finished on tap carbonated product because it's exciting. And now going backwards and having the base beer, it's nice.
And what's amazing is how complex the flavor of this as the base beer, given that we've already tried, the
Yeah.
winter warmer. That
Yeah.
even this, in and of itself is very
You
complex.
get the nut, you get the roast, you
get
get
a little
the
chocolate, little
subtle
caramel toffee
honey
notes.
sweetness, and
Yep, and then the maltiness shines through throughout the whole entire flavor journey.
And just a shout out to the color. It's a
Yep.
beautiful color.
Yep.
Thank you.
I love that deep amber color. in
and the
beer.
nice lacing. Yeah,
Yeah. It's a very, very, very good beer.
it's so good.
I'm gonna
Thank you.
I'm gonna save a little bit of mine
Yeah.
for through the game. And I mean, a little. I've got like a sip left, but it'll be.
That's
It'll,
a
let
good
it warm up
idea,
a
Dan.
little
it'll be my
too.
victory shot.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's very
them
confident.
fighting words.
It's on. It's
That's
on.
very
So,
confident,
on that note,
Whoa. We're rocking the house tonight.
yeah, man, it's gonna
It's
be.
like a-
it's
it's like
already
a-
a good night.
Berlin nightclub or something.
Would
know?
you say it's like a German
sparkle party?
It's kind of like a German sparkle party. It's like a.
I even have my sparkle skirt on.
You do.
It kind of reminds me of when you have a phone that doesn't cooperate with you. Saluton,
I wouldn't know what that's like.
interwebians, and welcome to
Interwebians.
Happy Fun Time Games. This is the only podcast trivia segment that looks dead sexy, even in a hazmat suit. Today, we will be delving again into the intriguing, intimidating, gaudy, and gimmicky world of bizarre beer ingredients with
There's weird in my beer.
I thought this was an appropriate game to play this evening. So I'm going to give you the name of a beer and a short description and a multiple choice selection of what the weird, crazy ingredient in that beer is. And you're going to try and guess. And we will begin in time-honored tradition. To my left,
Yep.
with Dan, and our first beer of the evening is Big Ass Money Stout.
Well,
Evil Twin Brewing teamed up with Mike Murphy of Norwegian Lervig Brewery to create a stout beer that encapsulates the spirit of Norway. It's one of the country's strongest beers and contains the essence of the Scandinavian nation. Does it have frozen pizza, cash money, or fish heads?
I'm gonna go fish heads.
You're going to go with
Fish
fish heads.
heads,
Okay,
fish
Greg,
heads.
which one do you think it
Holy
is?
fish heads.
Fish heads as well.
Fish heads
All right.
as well. Okay, Francisco, what do you think?
I have to say fish heads.
You have to say fish heads. Fish heads very popular this evening. Steph, you going to agree or disagree?
I want it to be frozen pizza, but I'm gonna say fish heads.
Oh, you're going to agree. Not a good strategy because everybody is wrong.
Oh,
The answer is frozen pizza
Oh, damn it!
and cash money.
What?
There were two correct answers and nobody got either of them.
What?
you know that upsets me because I love frozen pizza more than any human should.
What?
Well, first, let's talk about
How
the
is
pizza.
that even possible?
We'll talk about the pizza first because that's a little less weird. Okay, it's added during the boil. Since Norway isn't particularly known for any staple dish, they went with the next best thing. Apparently,
Pizza.
Norwegians are very, very fond of frozen pizza. It's actually a very large industry in Norway.
Are we Norwegian then? Because I love frozen pizza.
Doesn't
who'd've
the
thunk it?
world love pizza?
Who would have thought? Well, apparently Norway particularly loves frozen pizza. Norway is
Cooked or uncooked?
Guys, straight out the freezer.
It was
Yeah.
uncooked before it went in the boil.
I was gonna say, yeah, you put it in
Yeah.
the boil, that cooks
Now
it.
it's-
Now,
it's
did
good.
they like strain it out and eat it before like?
Did it dissolve?
If they're
Oh,
if they're true Norwegians, they probably did, because you can't let it go to waste.
True.
I mean, if there's any left over after. Norway is also one of the world's wealthiest nations, so dry hopping with actual currency was an obvious choice. Reportedly, $100 and 100 Norwegian krone or krone, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, were added in the late stages of fermentation.
Wait, they added it during
After
fermentation.
Admittedly a quest to make something stupid, quote unquote, Big Ass Money Stout comes in at 17.5% ABV. The brewers stated that they hoped the high ABV would sanitize the dirty money.
Oh
Hope
Yep.
being the key word.
my God!
Hoped. And
That's
it's
frightening.
it's available to buy in bottles, so apparently it hasn't killed anybody yet.
That we
So,
know of.
there we go. Moving along to beer number 2, and Greg is going to go first on this one, and this is Fenrir number 26. Icelandic brewery Borg Brewhus, which means city brewery, concocted a rather unique smoked West Coast IPA using an ingredient that is born of Icelandic tradition and far more unusual than a smoked IPA. Was that ingredient volcanic rock, shark blood, or sheep feces?
Or D, God willing, none of the above.
Please.
Yeah, I'll say volcanic rock.
You're going to say volcanic rock? Okay. Okay, Francisco, which one do you think it is?
I don't know. I mean, I thought the other one was head, so. I mean, how many things you find in a dollar bill and they put it in fermentation? I'm just going to go with feces.
You're going to go with feces?
Yeah.
Why the heck not?
Why not?
When in doubt, go with feces.
The alcohol killing him.
Is this the same guy that did the endangered whales or whatever?
I'm not sure, but I don't think so.
Wow. So there's more than one crazy
Iceland.
Icelandic brewer?
It's Iceland.
Yes.
I mean,
So it was feces.
it was volcanic rock, shark blood, or sheep feces.
I'm going to say feces because I really hope you didn't come up with that option on your own.
Okay, fair enough. Interesting strategy there. Finally, Dan,
I'm going sheep shit.
you're going to go with sheep shit as well. Well, Greg, you were the only one that was wrong.
Oh.
However, hear me out. Technically, the feces isn't actually
Please
in the
tell me
beer.
they didn't add it to the fermenter.
No, they added to the
They
finished
grew,
beer.
they grew grains.
No, not really. Okay, so
Oh my
They
god.
garnish it with it.
the feces is not in the beer.
This should have been called "This is the weirdest in my beer."
Yeah. The malts used to brew this IPA were smoked with sheep dung, which has apparently long been used as a fuel source in Iceland, primarily due to a lack of trees and I suppose also an abundance of sheep. The brewer explains,
Wow.
do we put shit in the bottle? No. We take malt.
Oh, it doesn't go in the bottle, so that makes it okay.
No, we only put the essence of it.
We put it in a smoke oven and put
Brewed with the essence of shit.
a sheep shit fire underneath. Let it stand for a couple of days, and voila, you have your sheep shit smoked base malts.
I'm guessing that makes it even better.
Yep. So the malts are smoked with a sheep feces fire. So
Good
there's
stuff.
it never touches the beer. It's
Nope.
okay.
Oh,
Moving on.
Doesn't
So
not
if
make
you
it
don't
any
like it,
better.
can you say that the malts taste really shitty?
You can say that even if you did like it. So Francisco's going to go first on our third beer of the game, and this beer is called Rainbow Liquor. So we're going to move away from excrement into something a little more pleasant. Rainbow Liquor from Otter Creek is their Over Easy Session Pale Ale, double dry hopped with Mosaic and Amarillo, and aged on an extra something to complement the juicy hops. Was it aged on Jell-O, Starbursts, or Jawbreakers? Everybody's
Starburst.
doing a
They're my
chin-
favorite.
chin
So,
check.
Starburst.
Okay. All right. That's an interesting way to make a choice. Steph, what do you think? Jell-O, Starbreakers, or Jawbreakers?
Starbakers.
Starbursts or Jawbreakers?
Yeah, I'll go with Starbreakers.
Starwalkers. Starwalkers.
What would they do in Vermont?
What would they? Well,
What would
wouldn't-
Vermont do?
What wouldn't they do in Vermont?
Well, I heard a really great story of one of the first times they brewed that amazing coffee stout they do, and how the brewers were up to their waist in spent coffee because they had to take the bottom of the cone of the fermenter off because they couldn't. It was so clogged from all the coffee
Stalling
beans.
For time.
I'm gonna say Starburst. That was what my gut was saying.
Okay, fair enough.
But they probably had to take the cone off again. That's what I'm getting to at.
Oh, okay.
So it was Jell-O, Starburst, or
Jawbreakers.
Jawbreakers. I'm gonna go.
I like how we thought longer about this than the feces one.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Ain't that scary?
You know what? I'm going with my gut, and I'm going to say Starburst as well.
Starburst as well. Okay. Everybody said Starburst so far. Greg, do you agree or disagree with everyone?
Jell-O.
You're going to say Jell-O to be a little different. Well, you are the only one that is wrong again. All right. Because it was Starburst. It was concocted for Beer Advocate's 12th annual Extreme Beer Fest in Boston. Otter Creek took their chronically crushable pale ale and upped the hoppiness and aged it on Starburst candy for 2 weeks.
That actually sounds good.
It does
It
sound
does.
pretty good. I would try that.
It does.
Said Drew Vitaire, Otter Creek's media specialist. Rumor around the brew house is that an undisclosed member of the crew has a habit of dosing their boxed wine with the candies, which reveals some seriously sweet, fruity notes. All that added with the double dry hop
Poor man
dosage
sangria.
creates one juicy bomb of a brew on Starburst. And moving on to our fourth and final beer of the game, and Steph is going to guess first on this one. And this one you may have heard of. Boston Beer Company teamed up with chef David Burke to concoct a brown ale that was brewed with black pepper, clove, ginger, nutmeg, and a certain other vital ingredient. Was it chicken livers, beef hearts, or pig lungs?
Boston Beer Company did this?
Yep. I know. Shocking.
I don't believe that for a second. Can I phone a friend?
You cannot phone a friend.
Damn it. What were the options again?
Chicken livers, beef hearts, or pig lungs?
Beef hearts?
Beef hearts? Never good when you answer with a question. So Steph is saying beef hearts. Dan, which one do you think it is? Livers, hearts, or lungs?
Chicken liver.
Chicken liver, chicken liver. Dan is saying chicken liver. Greg, what do you think it was?
All right, so I think it's really interesting that you saved this question for last, and Francisco gets to answer last. And if there's something you haven't figured out so far as we've gone through this, there's a reason why I'm not the brewer. I don't know all these crazy things to put in. But so give me my choices again.
Chicken livers, beef hearts, or pig lungs.
Pig lungs.
Pig lungs, why not? And Francisco, last but not least.
I'm thinking with the other ingredients, pate.
Here comes some bullshit.
So chicken livers makes great pate. So
chicken livers may make great pate, but they were not in this beer.
Damn it.
Because the answer was, in fact, beef hearts.
Drop the mic.
Not to be confused with beef farts.
No, beef farts are in a different beer.
Yeah.
That was the one. There was the beer where they made it with the yeast that was harvested from hornet stomachs.
Oh.
So that's the beef fart beer.
There you go.
The brown ale base was brewed with 20 pounds of grilled sliced beef hearts. The aforementioned spices and molasses was added. It was made back in 2010. The hearts were added at the end of the boil, and according to Boston Beer Brewing manager Bert Boyce, that's a lot of bees.
That's a lot.
Expresses but no farts. Expresses itself in the finish. It's savory and salty and hangs at the end. Later in 2012, Chef Burke again collaborated with Boston Beer on a more vegetarian-friendly brew, Burke in the Bottle Spicy Tomato Ale. So, looking at the scoreboard real quick here, it kind of looks like
here now.
we have a big winner way out in front with 3 whole points is Steph. Tied for second place. Not quite a German sparkle party. Dan and Francisco, with 2 points apiece, and unfortunately, Greg scoreless at the bottom.
Like I said, there's a reason why I don't get consulted on ingredients for the recipes.
Well, don't be ashamed. There's an awful lot of goose eggs and Happy Fun Time games all the time.
That is true.
Usually Dan and I.
It's a good thing I already finished my sip of beer I had left because I couldn't have a victory sip. But I feel like learning something, so...
No.
Your beers.
No. Know your beers.
Steph, what do we got?
So during this episode's edition of Know Your Beers, let's talk about one of Wayne's favorite beer styles, which I cannot believe 70 whatever
Spicy
episodes.
beers.
Wayne, not Steph.
Spicy beers.
Well, sort of, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of, in a manner of speaking.
I can't believe I've never talked about this style.
I can't either.
Unless the Google search was wrong and I don't remember it. But the Saison.
Yay.
We had 2 amazing ones. So let's dive a little bit deeper into this style and talk about what the BJCP says a true Saison is. So a Saison is a refreshing, fruity, or spicy ale with a distinctive yellow-orange color, highly carbonated and dry with a quenching acidity. The Saison was originally a summer seasonal beer produced in Wallonia, which is the French-speaking part of Belgium. Prior to refrigeration, this beer was brewed at the end of the cold season to last through the warmer months. Sturdy enough to last for months, yet light enough to be quenching and refreshing in the summer. Saisons are now brewed year-round in many parts of the world. Let's start with the aroma. You can expect high fruitiness with some perhaps low or moderate hop aroma. Fruity esters dominate and are often reminiscent of citrus fruits such as oranges and lemons, or you might find hop notes, typically spicy or floral, and sometimes some moderate spice aromas from either actual spice additions or yeast-derived phenols, which complement the other aromatics. When phenols are present, they tend to be peppery rather than clove-like. The appearance is often that pale orange color with a long-lasting, dense, rocky white to ivory head, resulting in that characteristic Belgian lace on the glass. I love how you're just smiling as we're talking about Saisons. He's just like, Saison.
Yep.
The flavor of a Saison is a combination of fruity and spicy flavors supported by a soft malt character, and the beer often finishes dry. The fruitiness is often described as citrusy, again, orange or lemon-like. However, the addition of spices adds complexity. Subtle peppery, yeast-derived phenols are often present. However, the phenols tend to be lower than in many other Belgian beers. Hop flavor is generally spicy or earthy in character, and a moderate tart sourness could also be present. The mouthfeel is often described as light to medium body with very high carbonation, often described as effervescent, one of my favorite beer descriptors. A slight tart character could be present, but they're often refreshing and not puckering. Varying strength examples exist from 5% all the way up to about 10%, and if you're Dogfish Head, even higher. Sweetness, decrease, and spice, hop, and sour character tend to increase with the strength. Herb and spice additions often reflect the ingredient varieties available at the brewery, or whatever Francisco has in his head.
There you go.
And again, it seems like every brewery is now making a Saison, which is okay with Wayne, but few of the more popular commercial examples, of course, include one of my favorites, Saison DuPont, Lost Abbey's Red Barn Ale is quite delicious, and Ommegang's Hennepin.
And 3 stars peppercorn Saison.
Yes.
It's one of the best I've ever had.
Hashtag Saison.
Hashtag
Remember
Saison.
that. Hashtags. I'll allow that hashtag.
You'll allow it.
I will allow
The hashtag
I'll
is
allow
allowed.
it.
Now that we have finally learned a little more about Saisons, finally, we should do this.
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me!
Round 2, fight.
Okay, so
We're getting dark.
we're getting dark here because it's getting
We
dark
are.
outside. And yeah, I should probably get the right paper back in front of me so I know what we're actually looking at here. So we're starting. This is the oats.
Not the oats.
This is the oats.
the oats.
The oats.
The oats.
The oats.
Oh, the smell of the oats,
And it is our oatmeal stout.
and it smells fantastic.
So that one is roasted barley, chocolate malt, a little bit of crystal, and a lot of maris otter.
Ooh. I love the bitter punch.
Yeah, like the bitter chocolate. Just
Like the dark, bitter malt. It's like punch, and then
yeah, and it's really like the bitter chocolate and tiny like dark fruit character in there, but not a whole lot. It's really that dark, nice, rich bitterness.
I bet that fruit will come out as it warms up, though.
I imagine so. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it does. And it does.
Gonna let it warm up then and not finish that glass.
Yep.
So this is it. Is this one of your more popular?
It has become, so when we were talking about, every time we brew something, somebody was like, well, are you going to have that every time? I'm like, I guess we're going to add it to the list.
I guess we have to now.
So the oats is very popular, and I think the next one, it's going to be the black beer oats. So it's the same thing, the same concept that we talked about. We're always going to give you the base beer, which is the oats, and then we'll do a spin-off of it, which is the next beer that we'll taste, which is the black beer oats. So black beer oats, it's the same oats that then we added French oat chips that were soaked in spicy rum, and then vanilla. So fresh vanilla.
Dan,
beans.
you need to pass that down.
Okay, we can do that. We can make that happen.
We need to do a side by side here.
We do, and I think I agree. Both of these are going to only improve as they warm.
And I agree. The black beer oats is perfect beer when you have it like almost room temperature. It just opens up beautifully. And you get a little bit more of that character of that rum.
And we should
in
clarify, it's Blackbeard, B-E-E-R-D.
RD. Yes. Black
course.
beard oats.
Oh my god. I'm getting a lot of the vanilla out of the Blackbeard, and I love me some vanilla.
We're not at Flying Fish. There's
that is so
there's a
good.
rule at Flying Fish. They can brew whatever they want, but they may not use vanilla.
Yeah, the owner hates vanilla beans or something.
So they are not allowed to use vanilla.
Can't put vanilla in a beer.
We love vanilla.
It's good for the rest of us.
more for everyone else.
Yep.
Vanilla is an excellent ingredient in a nice stout or porter like this, and this is it's
So
almost
is there actual vanilla added to this?
There is vanilla
Okay.
beans added to it, yes.
Yeah, no vanilla extract or anything.
Nope.
That all
Straight
that
up
vanilla
beans.
is coming from the vanilla beans that were in the Myers Dark Spice rum.
Fresh beans.
Yep,
fresh beans.
fresh beans.
It's almost reminiscent of a root beer float.
Kind
get
of.
that
Very
vanilla,
close.
yeah,
Very
yeah,
close, yes. Yes, it is.
Now,
It is.
we're probably going to break one of our rules with the next batch of the oats that we have in the fermenter, where we say we always give you the base beer. But the Blackbeard oats has been so popular, been our highest ranked beer on Untapped, that we'll probably turn this whole batch of the oats into Blackbeard.
Oh, okay.
it'll
Right.
Give
be
the
first
people
time-
what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be the first time we don't give you the base beer side by side because
everybody loves
everybody
the
loves
Blackbeard. But we can tell you now with our experience that the oats is incredible and stands up perfectly well on its
Yeah,
own.
you've proven it. You've proven you can master the base beer, so it's okay now.
Okay.
Yeah, people have constantly come in and be like, can we get a growler of this? And we're like, well, we only make 4 of that one, so
Yeah.
now that stays in-house.
That's only here.
So we got we got to get what the people want, and so we're turning the whole batch into Blackbeard oats, and That should be towards the end of the December. We'll have it out.
All right.
It'll be cool.
Nice. And when you
Very
start brewing more and more of it, you could do some fun infusions with this.
Yes, we can.
Like I'm thinking like fresh cherries or
Yep.
I don't know. There's so many things you could run through
Do a
this beer
lot
that
of
would be a lot of fun.
Yep, I agree.
Like a take on like the Mexican hot chocolate.
Oh, you had that already.
Yeah.
So we will brew that beer. So that is our
promise?
Baltic Porter.
South of the border porter.
South of the border porter. So that is our Baltic Porter that we enhance a little bit with cinnamon, vanilla, and ancho chilies.
Nice.
And so
Yeah.
we will brew that. Hopefully we'll have it ready for St. Valentine's.
Stephanie, do you like peppered beer?
No, not at all. Why would you put peppers in beer?
Once in a while.
We have a very strict anti-pepper policy.
Yeah, we don't drink pepper beers on this show.
We have the same policy with pepper that Flying Fish does with vanilla.
Wait a minute.
We have a special
I heard
Fisher beer.
I heard through the grapevine.
just because we
snap.
knew that she was coming home.
Oh boy!
It's okay. There's no scorpion chilies involved.
Oh thank God!
I just
You-
asked him when I went up there. I think we just ran out.
For what? No, we did not.
You're gonna get
No, we did
a
not.
death stare from Steph.
He did already. I'm in between. I'm like, oh, no, I'm moving.
He could
I
feel
am
it.
moving.
I feel it's like lasers
lasers.
crossing through me.
I'm like the cat on SNL.
Oh
Like
my
a
God!
Laser eye cat. What was that segment
Like they were
called?
using the cats as like laser guns,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I remember that.
I was gonna say like a can of corn at the supermarket. Going to the
Wow! Wow!
I don't know how to take that.
I was thinking maybe you got hit with a can of corn in the
Yes.
supermarket at some point.
That's what I'm thinking.
that would be
you said.
more aggressive and painful. Yeah,
It was a drive-by corning.
it's a drive-by corning.
Wow.
Oh my!
I really enjoy the black beer.
Both.
I want
both
them
of
to
these.
warm
I'm gonna
up.
let them. Yeah, set
yeah,
them aside. And let
I'm
them warm
fighting
up.
myself to not drink
You
them
can
right
never
now.
let a beer warm up, Dan.
I know. I
Is
know.
this
need
one
some-
the F18?
Nope, that's the dark one on the back. There you go.
So what do we have up next? I'm slightly confused.
So the next beer is the F18. It's our
F18.
IPA.
All
so
right.
it's a 6.3% ABV
Oh,
and
the
70
smell.
IBUs.
It's got a nice hoppy, bittery smell.
Piney.
It does. So it's called
Spicy.
F18. It's Falconer's Flight, and it's 18 pounds
Get
of...
it? Get it? Falconer's Flight.
Flight.
18
Flight.
pounds.
Yep.
F18.
F18.
It works on so many levels.
A little bit maltier than what you expect out of an IPA.
I like the
certainly.
maltiness. I like that bold malty, like bring it hops.
Yep.
I can
And
put
the
up
hops
with
are
these
there.
hops.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The hops are there.
Yeah.
And then the color, I mean, we put it out, and a lot of people are like, oh my God, is this an IPA? I'm like,
Because it is quite dark.
Because it's
yeah.
a little bit darker. It's more than. But so this beer actually started when we were brewing it at the beginning. It was your typical kind of orange kind of looking, IPA. And towards the last maybe 3 years of home brewing, I'm like, I want to do something different with this beer. And believe it or not, just a tinge of black malt changes this beer from an
Yes.
orange beer into a beautiful reddish.
And it gives
amber.
it just that punch of bitter malts
Yep.
to go with those bitter hops. And the combination is just... It's what makes this beer so good.
So we,
Thank
the start to finish process from brew day to in the keg is right around 14 to 17 days, depending on what day we end up brewing. And we'll go through the 7-barrel batch in about 10 days.
Wow.
So it's just
Yeah.
it's like the F18 is in the regular brewing cycle. As soon as one comes out, we end up putting one back
Another,
in.
yeah. So
This is
this
amazing.
one of your biggest sellers, obviously, it's always the IPA. Everybody
It
loves
is.
their IPAs.
The IPA.
But this is a very good one, and I like it's very. I mean, I like West Coast IPAs. I like the piney. I like the but we're in Pennsylvania. Let's have a nice malty East Coast style. Like let's do our IPAs, and this is really really.
But I
nice.
love that it's not a sweet malt backbone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. to me, whenever I hear it has a strong malt backbone, I'm like, oh, it's going to be sweet, and I don't like that. But it's a strong malt backbone, but it's like
It finishes dry.
it's my kind of strong malt
It's the
backbone.
Rocky of the malt backbone.
That's right. My malt backbone will stomp your malt backbone.
Francisco and I prefer beers on the drier side, so we always lean that way. So you generally won't get something a little higher on the sweeter end. We try and dry them out a little bit more.
Brew what you want to drink.
Yep.
For
This
sure.
reminds me a bit of Libation by St. Boniface,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
which is good company to be in.
It is.
Excellent
It is
brews.
a great
It's-
company.
it's-
We're
not to say
flattered.
it tastes like that, but it reminds it's reminiscent
It's in
of
that
yeah.
vein.
Very
Yeah.
flattered. They have been a great help to us.
Good.
Believe it or not. I mean, you guys know how close these, we all are in this industry, and by far, I mean, between them and Joe Boys has been amazing.
Yeah.
How much help we've gotten through this process. If it wasn't for those guys and everybody else, I mean, Columbia Kettle
Rod and Bill,
Works.
Columbia Kettle Works.
Yeah. Ryan Delotis at the brewery in Hershey.
Yep.
Zero Brew Day up in Harrisburg. I mean, everybody, Black Forest, everybody has been so nice. I mean, and that is something that it just blows my mind how it's completely different from what the restaurant business is. I mean, I explain to people, I mean, I call somebody on a Friday night, I'm like, I'm out of roast beef. See ya.
Yeah.
You
Tell your customers I'm not.
Yep. Exactly. And here it's like, hey man, I'm out of this. Hey, come up and pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just bring it back whenever you can.
Do you have any extra Simcoe? Can we
Yeah.
buy some?
Here you go. It's amazing. It's been amazing the way that everybody helps out, and it's just to be even compared there. It's kudos. I mean, we're flattered by it.
Well, and that is very true about the beer industry, and I've said many times that that's one of the things that's so attractive about this industry. But the two of you also are so welcoming and kind, and from the very first time I came in here opening weekend, I felt like I belonged here and I was a regular. You are so good at going around and making every person in this place feel like they're your best bud and feel so welcome, and you make people want to come back. Because you don't just feel like a patron here. You feel like a regular. You feel like part of a family here. So, yes, the industry is great to you, but you are great to the industry and great to your customers. And I think that, I mean, you make amazing food and amazing beer. Don't get me wrong. But I think the two of you have a lot to offer, and it's a big reason why people keep coming back.
Thank you.
You just feel welcomed here, and you don't want to leave.
Yeah. We opened it up. It was our dream, and we wanted to share it with everybody else. And we had the opportunity, and we were humbled by it. I mean, since the day that we put the first post that we had up procure this site, East Pete just kind of took off and just took us under their wing and just pushed us forward, and we're grateful for it. Greg, it's been amazing working with him. I've known him for years, but to me, the biggest thing was he never had the opportunity of doing a restaurant. This is my business. 20 years. It's like I walk into a restaurant, and it's like I can walk into a kitchen blinded, and I kind of know where to go.
Yeah.
He didn't, and we opened, and it was like literally, it was a Friday afternoon, 12 o'clock. We opened. There was no cutting. There was nothing. There weren't reporters, anything. We just opened for business like normal.
Like, unlock the door. Here you go.
And I literally looked at him. I said, all right, buddy, you take in front, I take in back of the house. And that was it.
Yeah.
And he brought Greg, his essence to this. And it's exactly that. It's just welcoming every single person there is very grateful that they're here and that they're part of this dream, and making sure that they feel like they're family, that they're part of this place. And that's what we did. That's what he brings. We missed it for a little bit, and now he's coming back, and it's amazing. It's the most amazing thing. It's 20 years of this business, being back there looking front and seeing what he does without. It's amazing, and it's exactly what you said. We're very grateful for every single person that walks in here. We are grateful that we're able to do something that we love to do, and being able to share it with friends, family, and everybody else that walks in. It's blessed. So, yeah, we're truly lucky. We love what we do.
Awesome.
Are there two guys that deserve it more than these two? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean you're absolutely right. This is just the passion that you have in your voice when you're saying that, like that adds a whole nother level to it. It's amazing. It's amazing to hear. It's amazing to see the two of you guys interact with each other and with everybody that's here. I mean, even when we were back, watching you, Francisco, in the kitchen while Greg was talking to us, is let us try the beer out of the fermenter and everything. Like, just the two of you guys, you were meant to do this. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You were meant to have Mad Chef.
It's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you have a really cool logo.
Yes.
I was wondering when the design guy was going to bring that up.
Thank you.
I thought this was the right time.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
it absolutely was.
A hop with a chef's hat. It's
so perfect.
It is. It's so simple, and it makes sense. And
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people think it's an artichoke.
oh, really?
Yeah, they go, "Oh, I love the chef hat with the artichoke."
Those people don't drink beer.
No, it's a hot bud. Yeah. But that's okay. We educate them.
Yep.
There you go. That's an opportunity.
There you go.
It's an
Educational
opportunity for teaching.
There you go.
Oh,
Opportunity for
teachable
presenting
moment.
yourself.
There's a reason why we put a little bit of hop on every plate, and it's so that people understand.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
that
another
is a
notice
hop.
that.
I wanted to
Yep.
mention that's pretty cool. You put a little hops on all the plates when you order food.
Every
which is-
every plate gets garnished with a hop. It's Mad Chef.
That's really
We're
cool.
combining food and beer.
Yeah.
What better way of putting that little bit of hop in there?
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of beer,
Yeah,
there's another one here.
That smells
another one
amazing.
on the table. And is this the
Juicy.
Oh,
It smells so
Tannenbaum.
juicy.
Yep.
Oh, yes. Juicy is the perfect
Oh
adjective.
man,
Juicy
This is
and tropical and
This is number 2 in the O series.
Yep.
the Is it?
So if you remember Homebrew Harvest last year, we had the Oh My, which was
Oh, I remember.
the big Hugh Melon.
Oh,
so
I remember.
oh, yes. So our first double that we did was an Oh My, a version of the Oh My. This is the O Tannenbaum. And Tannenbaum, actually, I think Rainer came up
Rainer,
with that, right?
Rainer did.
Rainer, one of our family members back in the kitchen, and so the Tannenbaum is, obviously a play off on the holidays, but it's the, Tannenbaum being piney, and then the bomb, people typically associate the bomb with Citra.
Yeah.
Right? So Citra bomb, so it's kind of the piney, citrusy that comes along with that, so that's where that came from.
It's
So-
good. And the bitterness lingers with you in a very pleasant and welcoming way.
So the first of the number 2 of many O's to come.
Yes.
Many
yes,
O's to come.
Yes, we make sure that we can continue with those O's.
Oh, this is a family show, right?
Of course.
Absolutely not. You've got to be 21 just to listen to it. So,
And it's the internet.
and it is the internet where anything goes. But this is juicy. I mean, it's obviously there's a lot going on there, but it's juicy, delicious, and juicy, and
But amazingly drinkable.
for 8% alcohol, especially.
Well, and a huge IPA with all of this going on.
So and we get a lot of that where folks come in and they're, I don't really like the real hoppy beers. I don't like, so they can tend to shy away from the F18 and the double. But again, it's an opportunity for education. Like the F18, when you had that, you had the big hop flavor, but you didn't have the extreme bitterness. Like this, the Tannenbaum, you have the hoppy flavor, but you don't have the extreme bitterness. All of our beers, we hop burst. So you get a little bit of an addition at 60 minutes for the bitterness, but then we pound the hops in the last 20 to get the IBUs, to get the hop flavor, but that makes them drinkable.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's Francisco's brain. I mean, that's what he picked up on early. If you go have a big IBU beer, you tend to, you have one and you have to cleanse your palate. You have to go to
Exactly.
something else. You can't enjoy more than one. And that's one of the things we wanted to make sure that we did, even though it's a little bit more expensive to hop burst. We want you to come in, and if you like the F18 flavor, we want you to be able to have more than one of it without killing your palate. Same with the Tannenbaum. So that's what we
This
do with
one
this
was
beer.
pretty much a little bit of hops at 60, and then everything else was a 10.
Wow.
10, 5, and a Whirlpool. And I can't even explain how much hops we put on that fermenter. I mean, it was that much hops that the whole bottom of that cone was all hot.
You're up
Yeah.
to your knees in it.
Oh, it was bad.
You
Like,
take it off, like yeah.
like literally, like we were twisting, and you know, Jeremy's back there. He's like, yeah, I twisted all the way. It only went 60 degrees, and that was it. I'm like, yeah, I might have been the hops that I put in there. I don't know, man. You know, so,
It was the hops that Jeremy didn't know went in.
yeah.
Oh, so he wasn't expecting that.
No.
I think something's wrong.
Yeah. We put
Oh, by the way,
By the way.
exactly. Oh, by the way, very good, very good, great addition.
I'm getting it.
That might be the next one. Oh, by the way,
That's good. That's good.
that has a ring to it. Oh, by the way, IPA.
And that idea is free.
There you go.
now Dan, you have to name the next one.
That is true.
I'll think of something.
Oh no, you didn't.
O needs to be in the title of this episode, by the way. No matter what you name it, you need to put O in front of it.
So are we going for the special one?
Is it time? Is it time? Is it time?
It is.
It might be that time.
for the special one.
I'll be right back.
I'll be back.
Dan's pants on the burr.
All right, it sounds like I didn't miss anything.
Not at all.
Just subscribe to our newsletter, and you can listen to the outtake.
And now that we're going with fire, Stephanie, here we go.
This is the moment. This is the moment Steph's been
Cheers,
waiting for.
guys.
What do we have here?
Cheers.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is-
Cheers.
So this
yeah,
is
Prost.
Prost.
Prost. Cheers.
Salud.
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 Slancha.
So
all
this
those things.
is the old Tannenbaum that we. So we run a fusion series every other weekend. Either the staff kind of brings some idea, I come up with something, Greg comes up with something, and we just kind of, work with it. So we have an infuser on the back of our inside the cooler, and so we just whatever we think it should go in it, we put in it. And lately,
There
it's
are no
been
hearts. There are no fish heads.
No,
there's
none of
no
that.
feces. There's none of that. That goes.
just some Dan pantalones. So
infused with dance.
Dan pantalones. Muy bien. So
To get that joke, sign up for our newsletter.
So this one actually is Supreme Grapefruit segments, and that is just the pure pulp of the grapefruit. There's no of the white rind or anything in it that makes it too bitter or anything like that. So you just want that nice fruity, citrusy flavor of it, which you kind of start getting on the nose. We put some Amarillo, and obviously, well, we have Stephanie coming over, and why not? We were going to put some double smoked habaneros in it.
Of course.
Pepper and beer.
Yep,
Who
pepper
would
and
have
beer.
thought?
I know.
Never heard of such a
Nobody
thing.
does that.
So you get the old Tannenbaum that was already kind of juicy, and we added some grapefruit in, bring some juiciness even more, and then, well, let's warm it up with some peppers in it.
And it's not a crazy.
It's delicious.
It's like a back of your throat mild warming.
but it
from the
stays
peppers,
there,
and it
which I
stays
love.
there, which I am
It will make you
shockingly
warm and
starting
keep you warm.
to appreciate.
See, I'm.
Because you make
If
me
I
drink
can
so
get
many
Dan to
spicy
like
beers.
sour beers, I can get you to drink spicy
That's
beers.
actually a pretty valid point.
Yeah. But I appreciate that like sort of lingering warmth rather than a harsh burn.
You get the grapefruit, and then the warmth comes.
Yeah. And then the warmth comes.
Yeah.
Están en fuego.
Well, it's like the
Stun
grapefruit
fuego.
like paves the way for the spice almost.
It like
doesn't-
teases you.
Yeah.
It's like it's gonna be. Nope, it's not that.
Oh, it's this citrusy, bright and shiny beer. And then it's like, no, there's the pain, but
It's not pain. It's
not
comfort.
pain. No,
it's comfort.
I wouldn't say it's comfort, but you're right. It's not pain.
It hurts so good.
And it's just
Come
exactly
on, baby, make it hurt so good.
it's very good.
We've been singing a lot tonight.
Yeah.
Fish heads. That. Okay, 2 songs.
2 songs. It's okay.
I suppose that qualifies as a lot.
To some people.
I am kind of glad I saved some of the oats and the black beard to kind of quench this fire once this
It's not even a
system
fire.
done. Well, okay, to quench the smoldering embers. Not quite a fire.
So, Francisco, last time I was here, you brought out some of these smoked habaneros for me to look at and smell, and I was very intrigued by them. Do you want to talk about them?
So we have,
educate our listeners.
It's our local friend of ours here that grows a significant amount of habaneros, and he just have been playing with them, just smoking them. And I think the last time you were here, I had, and I still have them here. I have 2 jars of them. So I have ones that are like bright cherry, which are single smoked. And they still have some of that rawness to them, that veggie kind of spicy, peppery flavor to them. And then he brings me other ones that are double smoked. So they are almost like kind of starting to get char or darker. And they almost bring, which is incredible, it almost brings a sort of like a candy-like flavor and smell to them, which was amazing. And so, he brought them over one time. He's like, hey, man, do you think you can use these for something? I'm like, oh, of course I can. If I'm not putting them in a sauce, I will certainly put them in a beer. And so we did, and it worked out great. And I think what we've learned through the process is using a little bit of both of them. It's a well balanced, because you put a little bit of the ones that are smoked ones, and it gives you that peppery kind of spiciness that you're looking for. But then the double smoked ones kind of almost bring almost like a cherry kind of plumness to them that still brings some spiciness to it, but it brings a second level to it. And we're happy. I mean, he was here earlier, and I'm like, hey man, beer's here. And he's like, so I said to him, you keep on bringing them, the beer's on me. Here you go.
That is the deal.
So he was telling, we were talking, and he said, hey, next year it'll be different hop peppers. So we'll see what he brings. I mean, we're happy. It's all local. It's just people loving beer, that come in here and just kind of bring something else to the plate, and here we are, mixing stuff. It's awesome.
It's awesome. And I think we're pretty lucky as beer drinkers and as brewers in Pennsylvania is that there is so much great local produce or other things I can't think of at the moment.
I know. I mean,
but just locally,
things that come from the ground,
things that you can eat and consume. But no, there is a great local artisan community that permeates. It's like you kind of have to look for it. To know that it's there, but once you find it, like you said, local farmers getting you peppers, hop farms popping up, things like that.
And sometimes I think it can be easy to take for granted, especially a few weekends ago we were in Brooklyn with friends, and we had a conversation with the doorman at the place we ended up eating dinner before we head home, and he was kind of amazed by you own land, everything that goes out to the street is yours, you have the place to and it kind of makes you think that there are a number of people that don't have this. And I think being a beer drinker or being a brewer that's using these ingredients, it does make us stop for a moment and truly appreciate it. Like, wow, this ingredient did this to this beer, and that happened right down the street. It really makes you, and when you brew yourself, even more so, and you're getting your own ingredients and making that product yourself, it helps you not take it for granted and truly appreciate it.
And the relationship you build with the people you get this stuff from,
Yeah.
like you're saying, he'll bring you the peppers, and you're happy to give him a beer
Beers for
it.
peppers. I
But
love
even Zach and Adam, for having the hops and then going to Molly Pitcher for the beer, at this point, that's a good relationship they're going to have. That's going to keep going. They're going to help each other grow.
And our friends at Deer Creek.
And
Deer Creek.
The last 3 times. The last 3 times I've been to Free Will and the last 2 times I've been to Trogs, one of them has been there. There's the relationships and
It is. I mean, that is our next thing to do. We
with Josh.
spoke a couple times with Josh. So our next thing is gonna outsource some other malts and
good hair, Josh.
Yeah,
Good hair, Josh.
Yes, it is.
Original Josh.
Do not quote me on that, please.
Not extra
Well, there's
tasty crispy
two
Josh.
Joshes. There's Good Hair Josh, aka Original Josh, and then Extra Crispy Josh,
Extra
who
taste-
also
extra
has
tasty
nice hair.
crispy.
Well,
But
no, original Josh was also Josh Timus Prime.
Josh Timus Prime. Sorry, we totally just got him off his story.
You had
Did not
a
know
nice
that.
sentimental point, and we totally derailed it.
Yep. No, but we are going to continue working with. We got some local Cascade hops that we had on our spot hop. Now we want to work with Deer Creek to do a beer that's all local malts.
beer. Yeah.
So it's just, I mean, we're truly lucky to be where we are.
You know what else? You know what else we have here? Lots of horse feces. Maybe we can get Deer Creek to smoke some malts with horse feces.
They just want to be in the next.
And then maybe we
Weird
could be
in
a
My
trivia.
Beer.
We had a trivia question.
And you can say that beer
those
is out as
guys-
horse shit.
Just might do it.
That's true.
Wow.
Just to try it.
We'll call it horseshoe fly.
Horseshoe fly. Horseshoe fly pie.
It could be a shoe fly pie,
Or
a horseshoe fly pie,
if you use horse and cow dung, you could call it
a horseshoe cow pie.
a horseshoe fly cow pie.
Yes.
Cow pie. Oh my god.
I am not sure if that's going to work out marketing-wise.
You'd
Be surprised.
You would definitely get some press.
At some point, this thing took a shitty turn, and I'm not sure where it was.
It usually does.
Nice. As a side note, I took a sip of a warmed up Blackbeard.
Yes, I just finished my warmed
Oh
up
my
Blackbeard.
god, that is so good. Now, if people want to reach out to you online, in what ways can they do that?
He's like, Greg, help.
I'm like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
So we're on the web, www.madchefcraftbrewing.com, and then you can also find us on Facebook, Mad Chef Craft Brewing. So we've got our Facebook page out there. We're also on Twitter, Mad Chef Craft Brewing, I think is what it is.
I think
We're
it's
also
at Mad Chef
at
Brewing
Mad Chef
on Twitter.
Brewing, yeah. And then we're also on Instagram. So
Yep.
you can find us on all
And
those.
on Instagram, I noticed it was mad_chef_craft_brewing.
Yep.
I say just message us on Mad Chef Craft Brewing.
Well, there you go.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I have to
Just
say-
come here and
Well,
talk
yeah,
to them.
Come here, talk to them, and I have to say you do have a very nice website. I was checking it out while I was getting ready for the episode.
Thank you.
It's
you.
a very nice website.
Plug for Brian Schaefer, local guy here, Mint Design. Brian did all the work on that, so he's been a huge help for us. We took a really sad GoDaddy site that I tried to put together, and Brian has brought us into the 20th century with the website.
Guys, thank you so much for having us out here.
Hey, thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. The beers are great. The food was also very great. I've left room for a dessert that I've been told I need to have. So
Yes.
once we're done, I'm getting a dessert.
Awesome.
But we also have to mention that this episode was sponsored by Audible, audible.com, audibletrial.com/beerbusters. Free 30-day trial. You get to download and keep a free audio book because nobody has time to actually read words anymore. Just listen to them. It's easier to digest then as well. But this brings us to the end of another episode of Beer Busters. And after a year and a half, 2 years in the making, it was absolutely worth it and then some.
Thank you.
I'm glad we finally got to this point. This is totally worth the trek for me to come from the big old city down in Philly and drink some fantastic beers. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for being here.
Well,
It's been awesome.
yeah, absolutely. I am Dan Baker, joined as always by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and of course our from entertainer,
Wayne Baker.
I don't think any squids were harmed in the making of this episode. Some chickens and cows and shit might have been, but
And some pantalones.
we'll see you next time.
Del Fuego.